What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Played Out Podcast, a competitive-focused Age of Sigmar podcast. My name is Kyle, aka Creator Gator, and I'm here with my world-traveling partner, James. James, how are you doing on this day?
I'm good, my fine guy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Games Workshop has shown us another rat.
They have.
They kept their promise.
Model.
Yep. They showed us the rat. They did not show us the competitive rules for battle plans or battle tactics like they said. Rules is written, so get that FCC complaint all fired up, because we'll find out later in the week, but I don't think they mentioned when.
Yeah, I've been tantalized.
Yeah. In the meantime, they showed us a rat. They showed us the Warlock Engineer, who is neither a warlock nor an engineer, but is instead.
But it's instead a sniper.
Instead of sniper. Instead of making a new character, they just said, this is the new Warlock Engineer. He does not do magic. He does not interact with engines vehicles at all. He just got a GAT.
He's got a GAT. It's the GAT RAT.
It's the GAT RAT. Questionable choice on the naming convention from GW, but the model looks dope. But you know why we're here. We're not a model podcast. A lot of people are. A lot of people talk about the models. We're here to talk about the rules. And more importantly than showing us the model, they showed us the warscroll, which has some tasty, tasty things in it that we're going to talk about. So the profile overall is pretty bog standard. 6-inch move, 5 up save, 2 control, 5 health.
Seems like a rat to me.
Seems like a rat hero. I hope, side note, I hope Stormcast get a little bit of a buff with their heroes, because this rat has as many wounds as my
yeah, that's true. I was going to say
every single hero in my my current Stormcast list.
I do think that your heroes, like, again, I just played against an ogre player, and their heroes all have like 8 wounds, and I'm like, your heroes should have like comfortably 6 or 7. You know,
you think they should go down for ogres that are fat?
No.
Or you mean Stormcast?
I'm saying Stormcast.
Oh, okay.
Well, the problem is like making them 8 wounds is like, well, they have a 3-up save, and like,
then it's way harder to chunk through.
Way harder to kill them. Like, you gotta have, like, I think 6 at the minimum. You know,
I think especially now that we're gonna look at this, we're gonna start looking at the damage of this guy, and 6 health is gonna be on heroes is gonna become very important. Yeah. Actually, 7 would be better, but 6. You're hoping that they fail. So let's talk about their range weapon. So he's got, like we said, he's got the warp lock musket. So he's one of those, he casts the spell of gun.
Yeah, he does. I cast gun.
I cast gun. So the Games Workshop is doing that thing where they tell us, hey, Ren's going down. Hey, range is going down. Hey, you're going to be able to protect your heroes much easier, right? And then they're like, oh, but we also gave this guy a 24-inch range Ren to ignore shooting at heroes gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So classic James Workshop, shows us one thing, or tells us one thing, shows us the other.
Yeah,
but
it's literally, it's like the season of anti that season where it's like, oh, you're like, saves way better, no more Ren, whatever. And then it's like, but what if we gave specific units like saves better, whatever, that people are just going to spam anyway? You know?
Yeah. Like in the, hey, we're talking about reducing save stacking and reducing Ren to compensate. They're like, here's 2 units that have conditional -2 Ren.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
require
I mean?
this rat to be more than 130 points.
I hope so. Personally. Yeah. Because him alone, so again, warp lock musket, 24-inch range, which is pretty long, 2 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, 2 rend, and D3 damage. And then they got your ability. They got the crit auto wound, which is exactly what you called
big
back in our predictions of 4th edition. So crit auto wound remains.
Yeah, and rats are also like a big buff faction too, so it wouldn't surprise me if you could like throw like an extra attack on this, or like, you know, something where he gets to, you know.
Yeah. Well, one thing he definitely gets to do is his more warp energy.
Yeah,
so
he gets to turn it in, instead D3 is just 3.
Yep. So
2 up.
Yeah, so on a reaction. So that's important, because the way I'm reading this, it's a reaction to him declaring a shoot ability, which means I believe you could covering fire this if you need to.
Yes, you can.
Because you are then declaring a shoot ability against the nearest target.
That is true.
So it's a reaction. You declared a shoot ability for this unit. It was not set up this turn, and has not used a move ability this turn. So it is very situational in the sense where they came to you. You know what I mean? And you're in a position to capitalize on it. You can't eat him across the board and do it. You can't like set him up at a reserve. You can't move him to do it. So
That is
very
nice.
situational, but it's very strong.
It's nice that they've taken some of the gaminess out of that ability, where they're like, hey, and it's again, it kind of leans more into like hey, this is the guy that's supposed to be like, he's not like an aggressive piece, he's like an overwatching piece, where it's like, okay, he controls this part, or he's on this part of the board, so like they're not going to move any important heroes onto this part of the board.
Yeah, definitely. He locks down a section.
Yeah, and like it's like similar to like the anti-charge Vindictors and like the Croxagores wiping squads. Like that's like his like role. Like they're giving you battlefield roles for units, and I think it's a cool flavor text. But I will say that this reaction, like please just like build in just use keywords. Like just make keywords for stuff, because there's a book in the reaction part of this.
Oh, I mean, yes, I agree. And like the thing, speaking of the book that's in there, they say movability and has not been set up this turn, which means I saw this and I was like, okay, so you're telling me setting up is not a movability, because that's my Signs of the Storm ability. Mm-hmm. And if you don't put move, there was a move keyword. I can't remember if there was a move keyword or not, right? But like, if there's nothing in the core rules that says you cannot do more than one move,
I wasn't on that podcast.
Yeah, if you can do more than one move ability in a game,
it's too much.
I don't like that. I don't want to be able to drop out of the sky and then move. We already fixed that 3 times. You know what I mean? Let's not do that again.
Yep.
So it's interesting that setting up is not just another thing that has a move ability and then you could shorten that sentence by, 10 words. But what does it do? So you roll a dice after you declared it. You roll a dice, set up on a 2-up, set the damage characteristic of this unit's Warlock musket to 3 for the rest of the turn. On a 1, inflict D3 mortal damage to this unit. He only has 5 health, so you can't kill him. You'd have to do it twice. Mm-hmm. Or him be injured to kill himself. But there is a possibility.
It's very Skaven.
Perfect. And then do you want to walk us through his other thing, which has his other shooting ability, which has me worried?
The, what's it called? The Sniper Master?
The Sniper Master.
Yeah, so you basically pick a visible enemy hero as the target, and the effect is for the rest of the turn, this unit and friendly Warlock Jezzails, which is one of those units that are refreshing. It's a big, it's one of those bigger shooting units, right? It's like a 2 rat.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like 1 gun, 2 rat.
1 gun, 2 rats. And friendly Warp Dark Jezzails are Jezzail units wholly within 13 inches of this unit can ignore the effects of guarded hero when picking the target for their shooting attack. So basically, like he like spots a guy and is like, all right, wheels up, boys, take him down.
Get him.
You see like all like the sniper dots like line up on the one hero.
Now that I'm re-looking at the model, I still don't believe that he's a Warlock Engineer, but I do like the fact that he has his little periscope so that he can like look and be like, "Yep, that's him. I see him.
Dude.
The goblin's hiding underneath the spider.
That guy stole."
And because like he's on I'm looking at the base. I have no idea what base size that is, but I'm gonna say that's a 32.
Yeah.
So it's basically going to be 26 inches plus 32 millimeters divided by 2. You know what I mean? That's like the circle that you can now put Warlock Jezzails in, which is a crap ton of Warlock Jezzails.
And they're also not a big model. Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
So like that's a massive block of Jezzails that you can put in there. And they come currently, and I believe continually, in units of 3, and they each get 1 shot each. I looked up their profile, and
is it interesting?
It's the same thing as this. Basically, except it's 1 attack, 3s, -2 rend, and 1 and 2 damage.
Yeah, this also tells me we're probably getting these in the launch box.
Yeah, well, I think that because they were in the trailer as well. I think the profile is going to be very similar, and I think it's also like their range is 30. I think it's going to go down to 24 to match this. Mm-hmm. They might still retain the 2 damage. I would imagine so.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a little worse. Yeah, I think honestly, like this is the perfect I mean, it's not a cementation because like we still have a lot to come. But like I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast yet, but like one of like the predictions that I have is the new like 36-inch, 30-inch range is 24. Like 24 is like the longest distance that like a shooting attack has,
as it should be, and like we won't talk about the tournament that we went to this past weekend, just because like there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We're excited to talk about 4th. But one of the things was I have 2 units of long strikes. They have this profile basically, at 30-inch range, and like we did a short deployment, you know what I mean? And like that is oppressive because 30 minus 18, and then they only have like that much. So like basically you have to put, if I put my guys on the line, you know, you have to put your guys way far back, like so far back that it's like annoying to not get shot turn one. And like then I have a 5-inch move too, so I can move them closer and then shoot. So like there's almost no hiding if the board is relatively open with 30. 24, there's a lot more options. There's a little more options that you can hide. So I definitely think that 30 should go to 24. So like that had me a little scared, you know what I mean? I had to go back and like look at all their profiles and kind of be like, okay,
what am I to expect?
What am I to expect? Because they can they ignore the guarded hero ability, which is the new Lookout Sir. The big thing for this one is I saw this and I saw core rules 25.0. I'm like, that's a win. That's a dub right there. They're numbering the rules again. Because I don't know if you've ever...
No, I have. Like, looked through the core rules.
Yeah, but like, they, in Age of Sigmar, is like one of their only games where they do this, where they go through a number each category, and they number it like 25. That's going to... I don't know what that's going to be, you know what I mean? But like, 25.0 is going to be this exact rule for guarded heroes.
Yes.
They don't do that in their other games, and it's extremely annoying to talk about rules online because... if you want to point out something in the like core rules or
text,
specific text, you either have to do a page number, which is very confusing because like they reprint the core rules a lot. So it's a different page in the book that came to Launchbox. It's a different page in the book that like comes in like the little like GHB primer where it's like small and the same size that you want to carry around. Yeah. So like it's hard to talk about rules. In Sigmar, it's much easier because like if you talk about rules online in Sigmar, you can just say like the comment just has to be Rule 25.0. Core rules 25.0.
It's like under a header, which is much easier to find, especially even within a table of contents.
So much.
Yeah, I think that this is an interesting character. I definitely think you're getting some like anti-play out of the character. Like that's the whole jazz of this unit is anti-hero play, which is cool, and I think it gives Skaven teeth because I feel like they're a faction that frequently like they're a good, very good faction, but like a lot of their problem is that they fold very quickly, and they don't have the recursion. Again, like we talked at length with the Skaven player this past weekend, and they don't have the recursion that you think they should. So this is one of those things that's like, okay, it gives them more like, okay, it feels very like Grin and Blades-esque, where it's like they have damage that's like non-engagement damage that you really do have to like be like worrisome of, or they can, cripple a portion of your army, that relies on a specific buff out of a, 5 to 6 wound hero.
If you just stand in an open field and take it, you know what I mean? That's exactly what they want you to do. And you have so many options with like power through and counter charge that like
move around.
Yeah, you should be able to get into their backline and like mess up these Giselles, or like have an AoE spell, or like there's a bunch of counterplay. I was a little scared about this, and then like some of the people that we were talking to this morning kind of put me at ease, be like, no, if they do that, if they really want to do that, they want to just make a gun parking lot, there are plenty of ways to just like blow them over. So don't be so scared.
They also have like they're all gonna have 5-up saves at best, like they're paper people.
100%.
So Kyle, speaking of guarded heroes,
before we get to speaking of heroes and infantry, because that's going to come important, he's a hero, he's an infantry, he's Chaos, Skaven, and Scryer, which I was told this morning is the like engineer subfaction.
It's like one of the clans.
It's interesting that they're keeping it by clan. I was not expecting that.
I think it's the subfactions.
True. Let's talk about guarded heroes.
So it's way simpler now, which is awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's just like one of those things that like it's like we've had the interaction before because in this past edition, I think they changed it twice.
Yeah. I had a conversation about it this tournament because a guy set something up and he said, "Oh, he's guarded because he's like this wound characteristic," and I'm like, "But I think does he have the mount keyword?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well." Then I don't think he is. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to just look it up because they've changed it literally twice since I read it the first time. So I'm going to look it up. I'm going to hand you it and you can read it. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things that like they tried to make it fit better, and the more they try to make it fit, the like less clear it got, which is kind of annoying. But I love this. I love everything about this. It's very clear.
Just to read the rule, so all heroes that are not monsters or war machines, right, have this passive ability that's guarded hero. Guarded hero, the effect is essentially you subtract one if a hero is within range, is within the combat range of a friendly unit that is not a hero, so that's within 3 inches.
Yep.
Subtract 1 from hit rolls for shooting attacks that target the hero. If the hero is an infantry hero, they cannot be picked as the target of a shooting attack made by models that are more than 12 inches away from them, which is kind of like how it works now. They just essentially moved the they got rid of like the second stipulation, which was like a 24-inch. Like you can target, like if you're within, right now it's like if you're outside of 24 inches, you can't target them at all. If you're within 24 inches, you can target
12. If you're within 12.
No, 12, you can target them and there's no negatives.
No minus. Okay.
Yeah. So 24 is you can target them with
a -1.
A -1. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. The biggest thing I didn't like about this was we both run armies with monsters in them. Yes. And it felt very bad when you would have like a singular hero that was running around near a monster and they would not get any like benefit from being blocked by the monsters at all. Yeah. You also had the thing where they had to have 2 models or more, right? Or 3 models. It was 3 models or more.
Yeah.
So if you had a unit of 5, people would just shoot that protecting until it got.
I would shoot the spider riders.
I would shoot the spider riders until it got to 2, and then I would target Scrag Rot. You know what I mean? So they had to keep like multiple things in there, and now it's literally just like have another model within 3 inches of an infantry hero, and you're golden.
Yeah, basically they're not off by themselves. Like if they're in your lines or they're next to like power pieces, like they're not really getting targeted as easily unless it's from a rat that is described earlier in this article.
Yeah. And I assume heroes on mounts won't have the infantry word, which will mean that they'll still get the -1 to hit, which will be important for them. You know what I mean? Like your guys
still get targeted.
They can still get targeted, but they'll have a -1 to hit, which will be nothing. Yeah. It'll help them a little bit.
Especially because they get shot in both turns.
Yeah.
You get -2 to hit, actually, thinking about it now. Great, because it's a -1 for cover fire. You get -1 to hit from that.
I'm thinking -2 isn't gonna stack.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're gonna have that thing where you can only go
to -1.
Up 1,
down
low 1.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's the thing that I'm excited. I'm excited that it exists. You know what I mean? That we're seeing it. We're seeing it in a more clear form. I'm glad they're talking about combat range stonks are going up. So if you have one of those nice little 3-inch, 2-inch, 1-inch, half-inch combat ranges that a lot of people have,
it's really nice.
It makes the game a little bit easier because now you're, instead of like, they can just use one word for basically all measurements.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, 3 inches.
Yep. So it makes things
crazy. They're really effective when they're written.
Yeah,
well.
This might be what they were talking about when they were talking initially about your heroes have to be within 3 inches to interact with the other person.
Maybe
because like we're seeing the 13-inch range for the Warlock Giselles.
Well, that's just because Skaven's number is 13.
That's true. Yeah. But I wonder if that's like the only thing that they're gonna have for like 3 inches, because we know now each individual unit can get their own commands.
Yeah, that is something I'm interested to see. Is like I feel like there's a lot of like there used to be a lot of play around like you kind of have to keep your heroes, or you're like you kind of have to keep like these units. Yeah, you got to keep your heroes close. Like you don't necessarily have to do that anymore. For like buff stats and things like that, like or like commands or whatever. Yeah. So I'm going to be interested to see the impact that has on like play in certain armies.
Yeah, true. I'm trying to think of like,
because like heroes, like if you got little like squat like beat stick heroes, like little like mega bosses on foot, like you just you roll them in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're not trying to save them for anything.
The one thing that when I first read more and more warp energy, I almost thought that he had to target a hero. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like the thing, right? But he doesn't. He can just change it to 3. So if he can get that through and it's critting auto wound, you know what I mean? There's a lot of ways to make that go through relatively consistently.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of buffs to get the damage through.
Yeah, if he can get that through, then that is over half of a Liberator squad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like a pretty consistent over half of a Liberator squad. Just one little rat, point, click, dead.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things like most of the time he's going to get like 3 damage through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a like it's only impactful into a hero. You know?
Definitely. I mean, it's nice little chip damage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Chip damage to like maybe clean out a screen for some rat ogres to jump
just, like,
into.
Finish off a single unit of whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's high rend too, so it's probably going to get through.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about the shootability from covering fire.
Mm-hmm.
The Snipe Master being like relatively deadly for how many Giselles you can fit in there.
Yeah. Big range, small units.
Oh, the other thing is, I thought they could just target in the Sniper Master thing.
Mm-hmm.
It says
you declare a target.
Yeah, but it says wholly within 13 of this unit can ignore the effects of guarded hero ability. So all the effects. So they're not -1 to hit.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like basically erase that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like, oh, you can target them. It's not.
No. You like just don't care about that rule.
Don't care about that rule at all. Which means no -1 to hit.
Mm-hmm, which is good for rats who are hitting on like 4s, you know?
Yeah. True. But I think that's pretty much it. We want to talk about this. I know we were like chomping at the bit to get the battle plans, the battle tactics, and all that kind of stuff. How do we score? How do we win?
That's the big one this week.
Yeah. Then in the bottom text, they don't confirm when that's coming this week. They just say later, soon.
Mm-hmm. So, soon. Be patient.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to see another rat. I would have hated if they showed off, like, people were speculating that they were going to show off the Stormcast mounted hero and like save the rats for later. And I'm like, the rat people are going to riot.
They're going to freak out. Give them more rats. Well, I'm interested to see like this. Well, I mean, you just got more Stormcast. You got the Ruination Chamber. Boys.
Yeah, true. I hope they go like one back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
The way they should do it. I think there's going to be, I mean, you're probably going to get like 6 or 7 units each in a box, you know? Mm-hmm. So they have, you're getting the Liberators. You're probably going to get 2 squads of Liberators. You're probably going to get 1 squad of the Ruination Boys. You're going to get like 2 heroes.
2 heroes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then like probably 1 other unit that we haven't seen yet.
The rats will probably get clan rats.
Probably 2 squads of clan rats. Like
that's a lot. Because don't the clan rats come
10
in
each
10?
Or 20?
I have no idea. I think
but you get a ton of Gut Rippers in the other box. Gut Rippers and Hobgrots, so that is.
You only got 10. You got 20 Gut Rippers. That's true. And the Gut Rippers are on the same base. Mm-hmm. So maybe.
Yeah. So you get 20 clan rats and then like squad of Giselles, like a Rattling Gun, and then like maybe some rat ogres.
Yeah, they showed rat ogres. Yeah. And then probably like they had a hero on a mount and they had this guy. So
yeah, they had rat on rat.
They had a rat on bigger, grosser rat.
Bigger, grosser horse rat. Bigger, grosser
rat. But yeah, I'm glad they're showing us. GAT RAT. I'm glad they're showing us the war scroll. What's on the Ruination Chamber war scroll? Like, they didn't show it off with that.
I know.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, it's so lame. It's because that's like the big hitty piece probably in your side of the box. So they don't want to tell you that yet.
Yeah, give it to me. That's what I want. I want the rules.
Yeah. Can we talk about how the GAT RAT doesn't have is that a GAT or is that a staff?
That's a GAT, yeah.
No, it is a GAT. Okay.
Yeah. It's a very long GAT. It's a musket.
Yeah.
That you put warpstone in.
Gotta love that GAT RAT.
I like the GAT RAT.
It has nothing to do with Warlock Engineer. That is such a fucking miss.
I know. I don't understand. Just make a different name.
Just call it like Scout Warlock. You know, you call it like Scout Warlock. Everybody be like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Like,
I think it's
nothing to do with vehicles.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with that. The Giselles, I think, is like the Skyer faction is theirs. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, we gotta Warlock Engineers are already in that, and we gotta have this guy play with Giselles. So how do we do that? Let's just make him a GAT RAT, and then because he used to be a caster, he used to not have a GAT. He had a pistol, and he used to be a caster. And think
I
he
definitely like
interacted
the
with some
GAT.
sort of.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm okay with him being a warlock with no. I'm honestly way more okay with him being a warlock with no magic than being an engineer with literally no interaction with
Other stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
he must like that. The gun must be very like requires an engineering degree to operate because otherwise, what else is he doing?
Yeah. Why are you an engineer?
Why are you an engineer? I don't know. I just went to school. And they just put me in a program.
GAT rat.
GAT rat. But is there anything else you want to talk about with the GAT rat?
No, this is pretty. It's pretty lean. Pretty small.
Lean.
Pretty small.
I'm just glad they give us a warscroll. Like, don't show me a model unless you're going to give me a warscroll because like we're not model people. You know what I mean?
I mean, I like models, but like I'm definitely not here. I'm here for the rules.
I'm here for the rules. Yeah. We also like I play Stormcast, but like if you show me a rat scroll, I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? But I don't know all the intricacies of the rat. So like I don't know how this fits into your greater rat faction.
Rats are very like not handholdy, but like you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. You know, so it's like it is going to be very good, I'm sure, with like other buffs. Like it doesn't seem broken right now. I can see it being broken. But like, oh, I can just like in a bubble be like, I don't give a f about your, you know, your guarded hero.
Your guarded heroes. The thing that like when I saw this, I was like, they're gonna make me care about terrain, aren't they? They're gonna like.
I would hate that, dude. I would literally. I
don't think you're gonna be like people like don't like the whole terrain thing because we think of the terrain thing now where like it doesn't matter. You know how hard it is to get cover in this edition? It's impossible because you need the whole unit, the entire unit to be
fully within.
Like either fully within the thing or fully behind, which is impossible. You know what I mean? I think we're going to get like if they're giving us this profile and you can target heroes and they don't give something where it's just like, all right, this is line of sight blocking. And like, unless you can see the entire unit, you are not like it, you can't target it when it comes to like heroes specifically, or like if the entire unit is behind like cover, like they get +1 to their save. You know what I mean? Just like in general, like they don't have to be 1 inch from the cover or within combat range of the cover. It's just if cover blocks it, you get +1 to your save. You know what I mean? Like you can't be throwing around 2 rend, 3 damage shots that can target heroes without giving me something that blocks line of sight.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like some way to shift wounds or whatever.
Yeah. Cause like that's nutty. You know what I mean? So I think they're gonna make you care about terrain because you're gonna have to hide from some specific shooting factions.
I hate terrain rules, dude. In all sense.
I'm
not playing this game for terrain.
It'll be better. It'll be better when it's just like, all right, these are 4 pieces of terrain that block line of sight. These are what you use to hide behind.
Yeah, I just think like terrain should be a set piece, not a tactical piece. You know what I mean?
What about Thermopylae? Not a big 300 fan?
I mean, it's like it was whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's the whole point. That's why they were able to, you know, fight for as long as they could because they used the terrain, James.
Yeah, it's cool. That's really cool. Who cares? Yeah.
James, like the terrain gets in the way of my spiders.
No,
like
it actually doesn't. I can fly over them. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's like the like. There's like that's not the game that's part of the game that's fun. Interacting with terrain is not the fun part of the game. It actually gets in the way of the fun part of the game. It actually gets in the way.
Nah, I don't. I like a decent amount of terrain, but like I want it to be impactful. Like the game that I played where I was shooting that like guy's hero on cavalry mount. You know what I mean? Like. He was able to hide a much more important unit. I was shooting at that unit because it was the only thing I could shoot at. Because he put everything behind line of sight blocking terrain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want people to have that. If we're having like a parking lot full of Giselles and heroes that let them target like other people, like I want people to have ways that they can stay safe on turn 1 and not get just gooped off the board.
I will say Giselles should not have Ren 2. They should have Ren 1.
No, they have Ren 2.
They're gonna. I think now. I don't.
They
know
do
if
now.
I think the hero gets Ren 2. I don't like. Again, especially if they're nerfing shooting. I think they should have 2 damage shots Ren 1. You know, and then you have like 2 high quality shots that come through.
Yeah, I think they're gonna stay Ren 2. I think that's just they get 1 shot.
Yeah,
I think they're 1 shot 3-3 2-2.
Yeah.
So it's like, you get 3 shots. You know what I mean? And they're paper.
Yes.
So, but But overall, again, glad they showed off a rule that we were curious about with the guarded heroes, and I'm glad they showed us a war scroll. So
yeah,
short episode today. We will come back when they show us the battle plans and the battle tactics, because that's what we're here for.
We'll see you later this week, fam.
Yep. Talk to you guys later. Thanks again.
Peace.
Bye.